Austin, Micah, and Valerie.
All right, everybody, welcome to chapel. Let's give it up for our SA pastor as he brings the word to us.
Good morning, guys. If you don't know yet, my name is Joey, and for chapel today, I'm going to be talking about a story of a family friend, but before that, let's pray. Dear God, thank you for just another great day of life, allowing us to come together here at chapel. Help us to get something from the chapel talk, and my words not to be mine, but yours. Okay, so I was born in Lawrenceville, Georgia, and I went to school in Atlanta for most of my upbringing, and at the time, my dad was a pastor at a church, and so the school I went to had a church that was like connected with it, so kind of how we have GCA and the GCA church, it was like the same for my school. And so my dad was the pastor of this church in Atlanta, and every Sabbath we would have people from the church or the community come over for Sabbath lunch. And so this one day we had a family friend and a bunch of other people from the church come over. And we had a dog, his name was Rocco, and he's a Cocker Spaniel guard dog. And so he's very vicious, and this is when we just got him. And so we had put him on the back porch and locked the door to be able to get to him. And so one of our family friends who was over for Sabbath lunch, she looked at the window and she saw, because we had just got him, he was really small, she's like, he is so cute, can I go pet him? And we told her, no, like, you cannot go pet this dog because you will get bit if you go try to pet it. So anyway, she tries to open up the door, she walks out to the back porch even though we told her not to, and she goes up, starts petting the dog, and then she ends up getting bit a little bit on her finger and started bleeding. And then she was complaining to us, he bit me, and we told you that if you went and pet him that you would get bit and you would get hurt, and she decided to anyways. And I can promise you that the next time that she came over to our house for Sabbath lunch, we didn't even have to tell her not to go pet our dog. She learned from last time. And the same thing in our lives. Sometimes God will tell us no and try to close the door in our life. But we say no, God, I'm going to go do my own thing, and I want to live the life I want to live it. And when we do that, we're always going to end up getting bit or hurt. And we'll find ourselves complaining to God, like, why did you let this happen? But just like in the story, the next time our family friend came over to our house, we didn't even have to tell her not to pet the dog. She learned from last time. And the same for us, that there will be more than one time when God tries to redirect our life. And when we always have this temptation to ignore him and go do our own thing. But when we go do our own thing and find ourselves hurting or falling, God says not to worry, that he still wants to direct our lives and pick us back up when we fall so we can continue to follow him. And that's the verse I want to leave you with is Proverbs chapter 24, verse 16. It says, for though a righteous man may fall 7 times, he still gets up, but the wicked stumble in bad times.
Joey, appreciate that very much. A number of announcements today. First of all, Campus Ministries has an announcement.
All right. I just wanted to let you know that there are 2 community service options that are happening this Sabbath afternoon. Pastor Collins is going to be taking a group of you out to a local neighborhood. So if you're interested in canvassing type stuff and you like knocking on doors and maybe praying with people, please come and sign up right outside my office. There's a sign-up sheet for that. We can only take 15 of you, so if that's something you'd like to do, it'll be this Sabbath afternoon. I believe it's at 3 o'clock. And then also, one other ministry that takes place in this community is Backpack Buddies. Has anyone ever helped with Backpack Buddies here before? All right, so several of you have done that, and I have never actually been to it, but I will be taking a group this Sabbath, and it's basically, I believe they help make lunches for local kids here in our local school system. So it's a really cool opportunity. If you're interested in coming to that, it'll be at 3:30 on Sabbath afternoon. So please sign up outside my office. Again, we can take 15 people, and both of those count as community service. All right, thank you.
Okay, several other announcements. First of all, I think that if you're a returning student, you're likely aware of this, but if you are new, maybe you picked this up along the way, maybe you haven't. But we operate our own email system, as you know, and it's important that you check your email on a regular basis. I would suggest at least once a day, preferably more than once a day, because sometimes email comes from somebody that, and it's important and it's timely, so you need to check that email. But just so that we have full disclosure and you're well aware of the fact, that email system is owned and operated by the Academy. And because it is owned and operated by the Academy, and it goes through our Wi-Fi system that we own, and it goes into the computer that we own, that you use, we monitor that email system. Now, we do not have somebody sitting reading your email all the time. That gets incredibly boring. Most of the time, it's boring. But there is software that sometimes can monitor what you're writing and what you're saying. And that's not a threat, that's just a statement to say that if you decide to put something in there that might get snagged by the software because of the words that you're using, we advise you don't do that, because we don't really want to talk to you about your email. But if you put the wrong thing in there and we end up having that conversation, you don't want to have it, we don't want to have it. So there you go, I have told you. This, not this weekend, but the next weekend, is important weekend here at GCA. Senior retreat that weekend, but also all of the classes will have class parties on that Saturday night. Not this Saturday night, but next Saturday night. And those class parties will be on campus. Senior retreat will be off campus, but class parties will be on campus. And if you're a freshman, that will also be the point at which class officers are voted. So if you're a freshman and you're interested in running for class office, you need to go to the front office, Mrs. Hartwell, or one of the people there at the front desk will have a little brief petition form that you can fill out and get signatures so that you can run for freshman class office. So if you want to be a freshman class officer, it's going to happen a week from Saturday night. And you need to get the form and get that turned in. Senior retreat will also be that weekend, and seniors, this word went out, but in case you missed it in an email that you may not have read, we're still going to do senior retreat. That's the plan, but it's not overnight. One of the decisions we've had to make in an effort for us to kind of keep the COVID numbers as low as possible is that we're not going to do the overnight part of it, where we jam 6 or 8 of you into a little cabin and hope for the best. So we're going to skip that part of it. But we're still planning to go to the camp that we use, which is called Camp Woodmont. Camp Woodmont is about a little over an hour away, and we'll go up there on Friday afternoon, be up there throughout the afternoon, evening, supper, evening, come back. So we'll be back here overnight. Dorm students stay in the dorms, village students go home, and then Sabbath morning we'll leave and go back up there and be up there all day long. But breakfast will be here on campus that weekend. So we're still going to do senior retreat. It just is not quite the way we had hoped to have it. So that is coming up, not this weekend, weekend after. We'll send more information about it, but just wanted you to be aware of that. I have mentioned the business of COVID, so let me just again say to you, the extent to which we wear these things is an attempt to get us to the point where our numbers start to go down. Our numbers are a little bit high right now, or in some cases they really are high. The good news is that most of the people who have gotten COVID, the virus, the symptoms have been mild or moderate. A couple of people it's been more serious, but it looks like it's a somewhat manageable situation for us, which is why we're working hard to stay in school. Wearing these things is part of that strategy. being careful in the dormitories of not getting a bunch of people together in a room and everybody just kind of breathing on each other, because here's one of our realities. A year ago, we had very small numbers. We had been in masks all year, and we had tight restrictions on dormitories and who can go in and out and how many can be in a room and so forth. This year we started and we weren't as tight. We had very few restrictions, and our numbers jumped up pretty fast. And they were predominantly from within the dormitories. A year ago they were more from village. Now they're more in dormitories. And that's why it's important in dormitories that we do our very best, because this stuff is transmitted by breathing on each other. You have it, you breathe, somebody else breathes it, it gets in their lungs, then they get it. And so we want to try to keep these numbers as low as possible. Now, to have the number of people out that we have right now, if it were in the old days, if you went back 5 or 10 years, and you'd say, well, we've got 30 kids that are out of school due to this illness, well, maybe we should shut down. The good news is that when we have those kinds of numbers, almost all of those kids are still in school. They're online, mostly online. And so that means that they're not necessarily falling behind. So that's how we're able to operate. And we can keep operating if we can keep the numbers fairly low, keep trying to fight it by wearing this stuff, and then hopefully the virus will go through a wave where it falls off after a while. And if that happens and our numbers drop, and we have fewer and fewer people getting the thing, then we can move away from having to wear these all the time and the other restrictions, okay? So that's what we're trying to do. So we're in these for the next week or two. I'm going to be honest with you up front, probably when you go home for the September home leave, we'll be back in them afterwards, simply because you go home, you're exposed to all kinds of stuff and all kinds of people, you come back. We're going to be safe about it for maybe a week after that, and then we'll see if we can get out of these things again. So that's kind of our strategy. It's what we're trying to do to try to control the numbers and have it be manageable. The virus isn't going to go away. We have to learn how to live with it, like the flu or other kinds of illnesses. The difference is this is a dangerous virus, and people end up in the hospital, and it can be very, very life-changing. It can have long-term consequences, and if you're vulnerable, it can kill you. And the last number I saw, the Advent Health Gordon, which is our local hospital here in Calhoun, is at 109% of capacity. Okay, so it's full, and a lot of those are COVID. The majority are COVID. So that's another indicator as to why we have to be careful. All of that is my way of saying thank you for wearing these and wearing them properly. Nobody wants to do it, but it is the small price we pay to be able to stay in school and keep doing the things we want to do. So thank you for doing that. Now, is there a way that I could find something else to talk about that would be even less popular than this? Yes, let's talk about uniforms. Thank you for wearing uniforms. Thank you for those of you who've ordered them. For those of you who've ordered them and they're back ordered from Land's End, because Land's End every year seems to be surprised that people are buying their uniforms every year. And so they go through this, oh, we're overwhelmed. Well, they're overwhelmed every year, so I don't know what their problem is. But nevertheless, what we're going to do is this. If it's important again, if you don't have uniform pants or skirts or whatever, or shorts, then you can wear other khaki pants, other khaki shorts. You can't wear jeans, Vespers attire if you don't have uniform. If you don't have a uniform shirt and that's back ordered and you want to get one, we have ordered some uniform shirts through a different company. They'll be very similar to the uniform shirts that you have. One of the only differences, they're cheaper, which is not a bad thing. We'll sell them for $15 a piece. They should be in the end of next week. So if you don't have them and they're back ordered, they'll be in navy blue and black, which will be available through the business office the end of next week. And that would get you into uniforms, because we'll go for a little while on this, but pretty soon we're going to start to say, look, there's different ways you can get uniforms, so get one of them in one of these ways. The other thing that is also available, not through Land's End, a number of years ago we sold these, or one year we were feeling wealthy, we don't this year. And we gave these to students, but this is a kind of a shell jacket, fairly lightweight. It's also relatively inexpensive. It's not super cheap, but it's also available through a company called Atlanta Graphic Design. And this is the exact jacket. The difference is this doesn't have GCA on it, but yours would say GCA. You can order that. That came out in an update yesterday. Go to the link, order one of these. It'll get delivered. Someday it's going to actually get cool. It'll get cold, and you're going to want something to wear in the classroom. You can order a sweatshirt from Land's End. You can order jackets or sweaters from Land's End, or you can order one of these. But when the cooler weather comes, you can't wear your whatever jacket in the classroom. If you want to wear something in the classroom, it has to be one of these or one of the Land's End things. So. Thank you for helping us with that as we get into this school year and move toward having everybody with uniforms. So I hope you have a great day. Thank you very much.
All the voice. What do you want me to say?